I looked at him and I was like, there's no way, like, you're telling me this because hey y'all, so today I'm going to be doing a get ready with me and I'm going to be sharing with you one of my epic date fails. I don't know how much time I have. It's 11:45. I have to catch a 1:40 train and it's like a 10-minute drive from here to get to the train station. So let's see if I can do this. So I met this guy on Hinge, right? I think I had liked his profile. He was cute, but like one of the things that really drew me to his profile was that I think he had said something just like, oh, if you don't believe in God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, then like we shouldn't match or whatever. And I was like, okay, man of God. So he commented on one of my prompts and he was like, there's no way you put your milk before your cereal or something like that. And I was like, yes, I do. We were talking for like a few days, not even a few days, probably like a day. And he was like, hey, like, do you want to meet up? And this was like when I was kind of like new, as if I'm like an OG now with Hinge. But this was like when I was kind of new to dating apps and was just kind of filling it out. And I was like, I don't know you, sir. Like, you could be an axe murderer. I don't know. So I was just like, you know what? But like, I recognize that to get the best out of dating experiences, like you really should meet up. Cause like talking online all day is not it. So then I was just like, you know what can it hurt? I'm really trying to like take dating seriously. I was just like, sure, like let's meet up, right? He was like, oh, like, are you free on Saturday? Like, do you want to meet up? So he was like a 30-45 minute drive. I already had to be in the city for a friend's birthday brunch. So I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, let's try this out. So we met up in a park. It was actually a pretty nice park, I'm not gonna lie. And I was so nervous. Y'all, this was like my first date in like 5 years, or more. I don't even know, but your girl was nervous. I was so nervous. I ended up getting to the park. I was like texting my friends who all had my location on because, you know, safety. But I see him sitting down and then I like give him a hug and I was like, oh, hi, like, nice to meet you. And we're like talking, we're sharing like, you know, about life, just talking about like any and everything. And it was actually like really cool. Like this guy was like mad cool. I was like, wow, like nice. And so as a Christian, not everyone, you know, is the same Christian. So I usually have to like ask a guy like, hey, oh man. So I usually like to ask a guy like, you know, his thoughts on waiting to have sex before marriage. I like to get that right out the way, like from the jump. Like I need to know your stance on this because if we're not on the same page, then we shouldn't even be dating. Like that's how I see it. So I didn't even mention this, right? Because we're just talking about like any and everything. We're just talking about life. Like we're just having a good old time. So I didn't mention this. But at the end of the date, he was just like, oh, you know, like I definitely want to see you again, but I just do have to be honest, like, and something that I just want to share, like, I am, you know, waiting to have sex before marriage. I also try to refrain from like physical touch and like all this stuff. Y'all, I looked at him and I was like, there's no way, like, you're telling me this because I feel the same way. I was just like, yeah, like this, I definitely 100% am the same. I feel like I'm sweating. Hold on, let me go turn on my AC. So he's just like, wow, like, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm on the same page as you. After that, we were, you know, still talking, texting, and we were going out every week together for at least like a month or two. It was like a month. Yeah, probably a month. I know no one is perfect, but just like the guy that I would like be praying for, like as far as like his relationship with God, as far as like his values and all that stuff, perfect. I loved it. I was like, yes, yes, I will have all your babies, okay? In the context of marriage, of course. So we're going out. I'm like, this guy is amazing. Like, he is so great. And then it was like his birthday. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of awkward because, like, what do you do during birthdays? Like, we're not in a relationship. Like, this is not my boyfriend. Like, do you do anything special? Like, what do you do? I love to celebrate my friend. I was just like, okay, let's go out. And like, we were going out every week anyway. So I was just like, yeah, like, you should come like by me and like, let's celebrate your birthday. So I'm so nervous. I like plan dinner. I plan for us to do a paint and sip after. Like, I did all that, okay? Now, looking back, I probably did the most, and I probably should not have done the most, but that's just in my character, and this is why the next man that God sends me just needs to be my husband, because wow. So, like, I was thinking about baking one of his favorite desserts that he had mentioned, like, on one of our dates, but my friend was just like, yeah, girl, you're doing too much, and I was like, okay. So I'm like so nervous because I'm also just like, I don't want him to think that I'm like too like invested, you know, because you gotta play like not play hard to get, but you know, you can't seem too available. But I was very available. So I was just like, okay, let's do dinner and then paint and sip. I'm like, I feel like that's pretty simple. So during dinner, I was just like so nervous. Like when I tell you I wasn't even engaging in conversation like that, he's like asking me like, oh, like, you know, what have you been reading lately, like in the Bible and stuff. I Then this man asked me like, what is your favorite book in the Bible? So I was reading the story of David, right? Like I was telling him like the books I liked, and I was just like, oh, and I've been reading David lately. Like that has just been like so like I was so excited about it because like the revelation I received from that story was just so mind blowing. So I was just like, yeah. And then he was like, David. I was just like, yeah, David. Like a book? I was like, yeah, David. This man was just like, oh, okay. He was like, oh, okay. Didn't even correct me, y'all. Didn't even say, girl, that's not a book in the Bible, but that's neither here nor there. I think in his mind, he kind of already knew, like, yeah, this is not the girl for me. I finally, at the end of the date, I tell him, I'm just like, hey, like, I have a surprise, like, if that's cool with you. And he was just like, yeah, like, I'm down. So the surprise was that, like, we were going to the paint sip that was, like, right down the street. So we were, like, walking there. He was surprised. He was super shocked. He was just like, oh, snap, like, this is what we're doing. So I was just like, yeah, like surprise. So I was like still so nervous, but I finally like wasn't as nervous anymore because at this point, like he already knew the surprise. But anyways, so we get to the paint and sip and we're doing that. We're like having a good time. It's amazing. Like I had a fantastic time. Like it was great. We were like walking back to my car because he had taken the train into like where I live. It was just so cute. Like we had like our paintings and it kind of like, they were small. So it kind of like felt like pizza boxes, but it was so windy. I was scared because I had a ponytail on my head and I was scared that thing was gonna fly off. But it was so windy and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like the SpongeBob episode when they have the pizza and it was just like the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you, and we were both singing that like in the streets, like it's dark, it's late, and I was just like, wow, this guy is so perfect. So I get back home, right? I'm like telling my mom about this date. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is great. Like, I really like him. And like, I already been told my parents, like, I want you guys to meet him. My parents are like, yeah, of course. I get back home, right? I'm like, going over every single word that I said. You know how we do that as girls. Like, we go over every single word that was said on the date because we have to make sure we are not crazy. Lo and behold, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about our conversation about the Bible and like what I was reading and like my favorite books. And when I thought about it, I was like, no way, Danicia, did you tell this man that one of your favorite books in the Bible was David? Like, there is no way that those words came out of your mouth. When I realized, I was shook it, y'all. Shook it. I texted my friends, I was like, oh my gosh, I told this man that David was a book in the Bible. Oh my goodness. I'm like freaking out. My friends are like, oh my gosh, I see it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I was just like, he's never gonna want to go out on a date with me. And they were just like, no way. Like, if a guy is really into you like that, like, that's not gonna be a problem. Well, needless to say, that was our last date. This guy, he didn't ghost me. I think he tried to ghost me, but I knew, like, at that point, I was just like, no, we have been going out together for the past month or two every week. Like, I deserve an explanation. I also had noticed some other stuff that I'm just not gonna go into because it was really hurtful. But anyway, so I finally like realized like, okay, he's ghosting me. This is not happening. So I sent a voice message. To this man and I was just like, hey, I recognize that like you're no longer interested. It would have been nice if you would have just like, let me know because I feel like I at least deserve that much. Yes, I sent that message. I'm just like, we no longer need to communicate, even though he wasn't communicating with me anyway. So, but I just was telling him like, yeah, we no longer need to communicate and I wish you all the best in life. Like literally, it was just like that. Like you're allowed to not like someone anymore, but like, at least like give me the decency to tell me. I sent that and then like the next day he like messages me and he's just like, hey, like I would like for us to talk. And I'm just like, no. But of course I was just like, okay, like sure, like we can talk. And so we talked and we ultimately just came to the conclusion that we were not good for each other. But it was just like how everything happened was just so like, I was so annoyed because this guy he seemed great. Like he really seemed like, one of the good ones. And he is a great guy. He's a great guy. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all and paint this picture that he wasn't. But I don't know if it was because I told him that my favorite book of the Bible was David. I don't know. All I know is from that situation, I learned that I need to be careful of what I say. Although I was nervous, and I know that David is not a book in the Bible. He is a person in the Bible. Y'all, I don't know how to do eyeshadow. I'm literally just like doing anything at this point and just rubbing the heck out of my eyes, hoping that it looked like something at this point. After that, I was so hurt and I deleted Hinge. I was just like, I'm so over this. But, after some time and after, some healing and just, getting my life back together, everything was fine. I honestly realized that this is part of the dating experience that, some people are just, not the right one for you, obviously, because I just want to marry one person. But yeah, some people are just not your person and that's okay. Like they're allowed to not be that. And you're also allowed to not like someone. And that's what the whole point of dating is, right? To recognize if this is someone that you want to be with, to gather information, all that stuff. I also don't necessarily like go on dating apps like that anymore. I just like, I'll go on and then it's the same people that's still on there. And I'm like, yo, We all still single. What is wrong with us? Since then, I only been on like a few dates. Nothing that caused for another date to happen. I would say that Hinge isn't like awful. I was able to meet someone cool on there. I've gone on like, I want to say one other date since that guy from Hinge at least. Whew, I'm hot. Okay, lashes are on. So I'm just gonna put on some blush. This stuff, y'all, is really like a lot. Like even this is, you see, like, so I usually just like put a little bit. So this hair was curled already, but I just wanna recurl it. I don't want to because I hate using I love using the wand, but I hate it just because I be struggling sometimes. So I'm just gonna wand curl the hair. I'm gonna do big pieces because I don't have the energy or the strength to do anything else. One thing I love about the wand is that the hair is like, my hair will be curled for like a week without me having to do anything. So whereas like if I use the barrel, it does not last. It lasts like the day I do it and that's it. Anyone else struggle with like doing the opposite side when it comes to curling their hair? Like the way I do gymnastics trying to figure out the right way to curl it, like I struggle every time. Now I'm going to gently comb out these curls because I don't want them that tight. Okay, let me go get ready. I'll be right back.